Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Matthew. How are you doing today, Matthew? Are you ready to talk about the Challenge World Championships?
I'm always ready to talk about the challenge. Not my favorite episode this week, unfortunately, but I think coming off a few really strong weeks, it was kind of to be expected that it would be a little bit less exciting, maybe. But yeah, definitely still a lot to talk about. And before we do get into the challenge, I do just want to mention one thing. I'm sure a lot of people watching are Survivor fans as well. One of my favorite all-time players sadly passed away over the
Oh,
last
Keith
few days.
Bell.
So rest in peace to Keith Nail, complete legend, seemed like a really nice guy. And I don't see many Keith Nail haters on the internet, which is pretty rare for a reality star. So really sad news. Just wanted to give a little shout out to
I'll
Keith.
acknowledge Keith Nail. Thank you. Absolutely. I was sad. It was him that said the tuk, or what was it, tuck tuck, right? Yeah. He has
Yeah.
some good moments for sure. And he's definitely somebody like there are quite a few hundred Survivor players that have happened in this last 20 something years. And he's one of them that I remember. So he's definitely made an impression on me as a Survivor fan and probably many million other people. So yes, thank you for bringing up his presence and to acknowledge his family, sending them condolences, and his Survivor family as well, who's probably going to miss his spirit. So thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that like we talk for the challenge here every Wednesday and like just like looking at reality stars in general. I mean, we can see from like our perceptions and like the comments sometimes, very rare that someone is like universally loved. And like it does seem like Keith was like one of those figures where
Mm-hmm.
like everyone loves Keith. He was such a nice guy. So yeah, just wanted to give a quick shout out there and thinking about the Nail family, but we can get to the challenge.
The challenge. Well, everybody comes back to the house congratulating Kaz and Jordan for taking out Bananas and Justine. And then cut to Tristan, Ben, and Amber not feeling well. We were waiting for this to happen. Like we knew that they were getting sick, and so like, okay, this is the episode. Finally, we're gonna see how it all comes together. They've been kind of, teasing us as to like people are getting sick, and I was really hoping that people would just get better. Because what do we know what they had? Have you heard any accounts on like what bug with the flu, whatever there was going around? They weren't
I
all
don't,
pregnant.
yeah, and I don't think it would have been COVID because they would have probably shut down like filming for a few days. I know earlier in the season, like a few people were sick. I believe
Bananas was sick.
Bananas was one of the people who was sick. Um, but I doubt it was the same sickness. Maybe it was, but no, I haven't heard much. I'm sure it'll kind of trickle out over the next few days with like the podcast rounds.
So Troy and Amber are also talking about being in the perfect position now to make a move, but she's still feeling sick. So I'm like, okay, she's got to be going home this episode. They're talking about
Yeah.
making a move, and she's like, I want to be here for you, Troy, but like I feel sick. I feel so sick. So Tristan has fever and ache and chills, and Jody's obviously frustrated by the timing, as we as an audience are frustrated by the timing. Like we saw an epic switch up happen in the game where they finally took a little bit of control. Like they still didn't have the full numbers, but they had more people willing. Like they took out some of the people that were against them, and so it sucks that they can't keep on going with this momentum now because people from their new alliance is not feeling well. And Tristan's a big part of that duo, that team, and that alliance.
Yeah. Uh, I was very nervous when, like, last week when I saw the preview, I was thinking, you know what, it's going to end up being like Amber goes home. We'll see what happens with Troy. But when they were showing like Tristan and then like shortly after Ben, I was like, oh, this looks a lot more serious. Like, I thought it was going to be like a preview fake out where, like, yeah, like maybe Ben was like in the ambulance, but which we saw in the preview, but it was going to be more like, oh, he's getting an IV and then he's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
was like pretty shocked with how bad it really seemed for Tristan and obviously Ben, which we'll get into a little bit later.
So Ben Haas says in his confessional, like, oh, this is like the Groundhog Day of nightmares. Do you think he actually has seen Groundhog Day?
Probably not, I would
Like, did
guess.
someone just feed him that as like a line and then he just said it? Because I was like, I don't know. A, he's pretty young, I think. And B, does Groundhog Day make it to Argentina? Like, is that something that he watched in the 80s, 90s?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. How old is Ben High? I feel like he's like early 30s.
Let's see. How old is Ben
He's got
Ha?
to be older than me, and I've seen Groundhog Day, so
But like, you're not in Argentina.
that's true. Yeah,
Okay, let's see how old he is.
I'm gonna say he's
He,
32.
actually, I think he's older than that. Hold on. 38. Okay, never mind. It's very
38. Oh wow.
possible for him to have seen Groundhog's Day. Age-wise, it's fitting. He's born May 24th, 1984, so he's a Gemini. All right. Right, Ben, huh? Who knew? So Ben, yeah, we see him again feeling really, really sick. And Sarah actually was looking after him and saying that, if you need me for anything, it doesn't matter. Like, she even mentions in her confessional that, like, yeah, they have like a problem with each other in the game, but like she still has a heart and wants him to feel better and be better. And so it's nice to see a little bit of these human moments, even when the game's going on. But I also just want him to get better. Like, I don't love
Yeah.
him, but like, I don't want him to be sick.
No, and like I felt the same way. It's like he has always been like someone that was one of my least favorite Survivor winners. Like didn't love him on the USA or this season even, but you don't want to see anyone go out like that. Like you want to see people compete and like for his credit, like he was bringing some entertainment this season, like
Mm-hmm.
pretty chaotic presence. So yeah, to see it kind of end like that, it always sucks. It's like let's see how things would play out normally, regardless of how much I like you or don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to see the season out.
For sure. We do have some friends here that wants to see this podcast out. Lovable Nikki's here. Lauren. Willie, yes, Michelle's coming. She's just running a little bit late. She should be here soon. Don't worry. We're here to hold down the fort. Juan, hello, hello. I actually really like, not that I wanted people to be, exit from the game, but I did think it was a decent episode. But I agree with you. The last two episodes were superior to this one. Hi,
Yeah, I think for
Sophie.
me there was a couple things in the episode that I really did not like, and it kind of just soured the episode for me.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, something when we get to the daily.
I
But
have. I think I know what it is.
Yeah, so I was very much like unhappy about that, and then like watching the rest of the episode, I I felt it to be a little predictable, but
Mm,
yeah. Overall, I mean, like no major complaints, but like still loving this season.
yeah,
And
season's
I do
great.
think it's probably the best season in like 5 years. But yeah, had a few issues with this specific episode.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hey,
everyone. Yeah,
Brenda.
so we're still going to be talking about people being sick because Tristan can't move forward in the game, and he's telling this to KellyAnne, and you can see KellyAnne looks defeated and deflated. And I'm hoping that this is just like the beginning of maybe a KellyAnne win arc, because like she just looked so upset with the fact that Tristan is saying that she's not gonna be able to move on, and like just did this big move, and like they're finally like not necessarily considered the people just to throw in there. Like they're like people are wanting to work with them, but like, or it just, they're in such a better position. So I could see this, like her face just drain with like disappointment.
Yeah, and I mean, it really sucks for Kellyanne here because like she was coming off like such a dominant performance, and then like not only is she now dealing with her literal partner like potentially leaving the game in her mind. Obviously, he did not leave the game, which is great, but also like two of the teams that she was aligned with are now gone by the end of this episode, or I mean, half gone. Like Amber's gone, who was one of her allies, and then obviously Jody and Ben Haas. So they just lost 2 of those votes. And I would imagine like Troy now is not going to be as tightly connected to that group. So you could tell like KellyAnne is flustered, rightfully so, because her whole game just got kind of shaken up there. So I hope you're right, and there is like there's still that arc there. I just worry that she just it's going to be such easy pickings if she doesn't win.
So Theo, of course, he's getting a couple more confessionals now this episode, anyways. He doesn't mind any of the teams that are sick going home. He's like, these are strong teams. Get them out of here. Get rid of them. And that's kind of true, you know. I
Yeah,
don't
like
want
as we were saying, like as fans, we don't want to see it. But if you're in the
right.
game and you're playing for that
It's
money,
like,
it's like,
sorry,
hey, I
bye.
hope you're okay, but I'm if we can eliminate 3 teams and I don't have to deal with you later, like, fine by me. It's a harsh reality.
So Kaz does give Tristan a pep talk and she says, do it for KellyAnne. And like, I kind of felt a little bit emotional here for this because she's like, because KellyAnne would do it for you. And I was like, KellyAnne would do it for him. She would. She would never really quit in that kind of way. Like, not to say that he was super sick and people that leave the game because they're sick, like, I'm not saying that at all, but she would stick it through. And I'm happy that Kaz convinced him to stay because we do see him walking into the daily.
Yeah.
But we learned from TJ that Ben cannot continue because he did get taken away by the medics. He had some IVs going on. We thought that he'd just get checked out and then he'd be able to come back into the game. But no, he is not fit to continue on. So we're going to be losing Casey. So we think. And then Amber puts up her hand and says, TJ, I want to say something. She doesn't want Casey to go home. She's been feeling really sick herself, and she wants to trade positions with Casey so Casey can stay in the game, be partnered with Troy, and Amber would go home. And TJ is okay with this.
So here was my thought. Let me know what you think. I think when this happened, she already knew that she was pregnant. Like I feel like she had already taken the tests and things
Mm,
were like a little bit out of order there. Like I know in the confessional she said, "Oh, I'm glad I trusted my hunch," and like Troy, you're the first one to know like, I'm pregnant. I have a feeling she knew when she made that offer there, and maybe she just didn't want to reveal it in front of everyone. Um, because like just knowing Amber, like I think if she was just sick, like similar to Tristan, like I think she would have stayed in the game or tried to like gut it out there. I don't think she would have left like that. So my thought is she did already know.
it's a good
What do
point.
you think?
I didn't think about it actually. I was just kind of like, I think that she was like, I don't think I can go on. And I just like I feel like crap and I want to give Troy the best opportunity to do well in this game because I really care about him. Casey's a really good partner to have. Like she could maybe she just didn't think that she could go further. But I do think that actually it was a good point. I didn't really think about it like at the time, but now that you bring it up, I think that that's a very logical conclusion is that she knew she was pregnant, knew she was probably going to be stepping out of the game and it was a perfect timing.
Yeah, like she doesn't want to screw Troy over, and it all kind of aligned there. Um, the other thing that I was thinking there is even if like say like Casey left there, Amber continued, and then like 8 hours later found out she was pregnant. I feel like Casey would have just come back in the game anyways, correct?
Right. Mhm.
Obviously Amber had her great moment here where like she was able to give Casey that chance, but I do kind of feel like regardless that was going to happen. Um, but still like love that from Amber, especially considering like Casey wasn't always like the nicest to Amber, or at least like not the most supportive when other people were not being nice to her. So the fact that Amber was able to kind of like be the bigger person on her way out was definitely a nice moment.
Did you catch this when Amber was saying to Troy, like, "You're the best partner I thought she was gonna say I've never had ever had, but Jarrell was there listening that, and she said that something. I can't remember how she ended it, but she's like, "You're the best partner that I, that I'm, in a while," or something like that. Like she finished it in a different way, but I think she was trying to say that I've ever had. I thought it was
Yeah, I
funny.
think Darrell and CT might have him slightly beat there, but definitely a good partner, I'd say. And like seems like super supportive, a little quiet, but yeah, Troy is a good partner, and I do think him and Casey are a pretty strong team, to be honest.
Yeah, they are a pretty strong team. I, you know, as I didn't really, and I like Troy. I don't particularly enjoy Casey. I understand that they're a power couple. It's kind of when Casey was with Leroy, they were a really super strong duo. But like, I was kind of happy that Casey was no longer in the game. Is that bad?
Well,
I was
I
kind of
mean,
thrilled there for the moment.
yeah, there's like the like pros and cons. It's like I was hoping, I just like I expected Amber to leave. That like obviously like I love Amber and I wish like she could have stayed in the game, but obviously, like, I kind of figured that was not going to happen. I would have loved to see like Amber and Troy have a chance at it. So I'm not mad at Casey staying in here and like being with Troy. Like, definitely not a big Casey fan. Like, but to me, she's more like whatever. Like, I don't
Right.
hate her. I don't love her. She's like
She's
a
whatever.
nice person, it
I
seems.
I don't want to be rooting for her to win. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like I
yeah.
like Troy. I want Troy to win, but I don't want Casey to win again.
Yeah, I will definitely not be rooting for them, but I guess like overall, I'm just like fine with her being here. It
Eh,
doesn't really impact me much because she is realistically not going to get many confessionals.
yeah.
I'm rooting for Troy. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Screw Casey. I mean, I think it would have happened anyways. Amber is a class act. She does tell Troy that she's the first person to tell that she is indeed pregnant, and so I think that you might be onto something with her knowing beforehand. Someone else was also mentioning that they had a Australian team jersey ready to go for Casey, so maybe she clued in production also that like, hey, I'm not feeling well. Maybe I missed my period. Like, I need to take a test. Let me see what's going on here. I haven't been feeling well, but I don't know if I'm not feeling well. Like, Ben is not feeling well, or maybe when that was all happening, maybe she got a test from. I guess they showed us the test that she got, but you know,
Mhm. Yeah, and
um,
I did want to while we're on like the Amber of it all before we move on, I did want to bring up to everyone listening the photo that I sent you just
oh,
before we
here, I'll
hopped
pull
on
it up.
here.
One sec.
Very funny. So Amber basically posted an
Do you want to read it?
Instagram. It's pretty long. I'll summarize. People can read it on here, but yeah, essentially she was like thanking Troy specifically, and then a few others for like all their support and like for a great season, whatever. And she specifically thanked the women on the season, and she named all the vet women and a few of the rookies, but notably left out Casey and Tori, which I really love because as like I alluded to a few minutes ago, like Casey has not always been the nicest and has always kind of like supported like Fessy, who has definitely not been very nice to Amber. Um and then Tori is certainly not the nicest to Amber, and the two of them were left out of this very nice post from Amber, and there is definitely some intention behind it. I very much doubt that Amber forgot about Tori and Casey. So I do love this from Amber. And when she does ultimately come back in a few years, really looking forward to see her like being against these people and now potentially having some allies on her side.
Oh yeah, I hope these newer players are going to be allies of hers. Some of the people that you mentioned were part of her baby shower. I don't remember seeing Tori or Casey at the baby shower, so I definitely think that she'd rather not see those people again, unless it's
Yeah,
in the
I was
game.
actually
Whatever.
surprised to see Jordan there. Not that like Jordan and Amber have had any bad blood. I just figured like Jordan is obviously very close with some of these other people. So I was surprised to see Jordan there, but I don't know, like I've I'm like pleasantly surprised with how I feel about Jordan the last couple seasons for the most part. Definitely some bad moments from him, but
I'm
seems
still
like Jordan is like more open-minded to like work with different people.
a little bit. A little bit. So the daily challenge is trivia. It's called Ripcord Roulette. It's 21 stories high. They're going to be kind of how would you describe how they were being held up? Anyways, they're laying down, but held up with like a bungee behind their back, ready to pull a ripcord to their falling fate. So they're going to have 5 ripcords, and if they lose or miss a question, they pull their own. They'll pull a ripcord, and if they get a question correct, they have to tell somebody else in their heat to pull a ripcord. So you said that you had some qualms about this daily. What are they? I have some myself, and they're probably the same ones.
Yeah, so I absolutely hated the format of this daily. Like I love trivia, obviously. I think everyone loves trivia, but what I absolutely hated was they have such an easy formula where it's like since the dawn of time, 3 strikes and you're out. If you want to do 5 strikes and you're out, sure, 5 strikes and you're out, but just simplify it. Three strikes and you're out. Instead, it's you have 5 ripcords, you pull one, and if you pull the wrong one,
You
you
could be out
lose.
one. Yeah.
Which happened to Jody and Benha twice, where they just pulled the wrong one, and then I believe Darrell and Kiki, and then Jordan and Kaz at in one of their heats, they had pulled 4 ripcords, so they essentially had 4 chances. I mean, and I understand it's like it is luck, but why do we have to have luck be the deciding factor here? When it could just be, hey, pull
Trivia.
3 chords, and on the third chord, you're done. Like everyone should have the same amount of chances. It's to me, I don't like when luck takes over. It's like some of the issues I have with like Survivor right now are it's way too luck based. So I think Jody and Benha got screwed here because, as
Mhm.
Jody said a little later, she didn't even have the opportunity to answer a question. She got, I guess, she got the strike thrown at her, and on the first rip, they were done. So essentially, they went into elimination, and then ultimately went home, and they didn't have a chance to compete in the daily, which I really hated. And I'm guessing that was your kind of main qualm with it as well.
Obviously, like it's just so dumb that it's trivia. So the point of trivia is people being scared to answer questions, right? Or like because they are scared, answering the questions become a little bit difficult. And that's why TJ usually laughs, is because people are like, oh my god, I don't know the answer. Oh my god, I don't know the answer. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna whatever, I'm gonna fall. I understand they want to call it roulette. They want to have the alliteration, ripcord roulette. I get that. I get ooh, like, is it this one? Is it going to make them fall? Like, okay, I get it. There's a little bit of like intrigue there. But I think that no matter what, on your first one, you should not pull the wrong one. If it's the one, especially if it's the one that someone is giving to you, as opposed to like you getting a question wrong. I think that I don't know. I don't know how to fix this other than doing what you said, where it's just like 3 strikes you're out, 5 strikes you're out, whatever. But like, I definitely don't think having 5 strings there to pull, and then you could potentially pull one to your death without having answered a question. I think that's a flaw, a major flaw in a challenge that's about trivia.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to overcomplicate these like traditional challenges that we all love. Like nobody is gonna like this more than standard trivia. They're either gonna like it the same or less.
Yeah.
So it's you have a challenge that's worked very well since the challenge has started, essentially.
TJ
And it's like,
laughed
oh,
only
we're gonna
once,
do
if I
that.
remember correctly. And like, he usually laughs for every single question because like he's always like hovering his hand on the buzzer, right?
I personally think what they should do is you either get 3 questions wrong, or if they want to do where you can like sabotage someone else, then just do okay, you get 5 X's. So either 5 X's whether that be you get a question wrong or someone sabotages you, or just 3 questions wrong. It's just like very simple. There, if you want to do the 5 one where you can sabotage and add some like social element to it, sure, do that, but don't make it luck based where a team could just lose and without having a chance to play, because that was
and,
like
and
ridiculous.
and like and it would be different too if they got one wrong and it's like round 2 and they pulled their second cord and they go out. But the fact that they were targeted by someone that got a question correct before they got a chance to even answer one, like everybody should at least get around to send some X's, some pulls, some
For
sabotages.
sure.
It was just so annoying. Like it made me really just not like the challenge. When I love trivia, I love seeing people scared. I love seeing how dumb people are. And we didn't even get that many questions because so many people pulled the wrong ripcord on the first round. It's like, so we saw what, like 5 questions?
Yeah, honestly, and I didn't even realize initially that there was only one chord that would propel you down. I just thought it was like once you lose all 5. Like I thought what I was just saying was what was actually happening. And then it was like later in that heat, like someone pulled the second one, or maybe it was I can't remember who was in what heat, but someone pulled one. And I was like, wait, how are they falling already when I just saw Darrell pull 4 of them? And then I realized that it was just like there was 1 out of 5 that was like the bad chord. And then I got really upset about it.
Well,
So,
and I think
uh,
what they could have maybe fixed it if, well, okay, the roulette part of the challenge is pulling the cord, right? So there shouldn't have been sabotages then. You should have just been defending your chords, like getting the questions right, so you don't have to risk your game by pulling one of these 5 chords if they want to keep that same format. Or if you could defend your chord pull by being like, okay, you got a question wrong, you're going to try to sabotage me. I'm going to answer another question to see if I can defend getting a sabotage. So just at least give them an opportunity to fight back. I'm never going to be a fan of people that are just going to be taken out without having any way to defend themselves. There was no way for them to defend themselves. None.
yeah.
Unless the producers were on their side and told them which chords to pull or not to pull.
Yeah, I always like to like hope that that's not the case and like
No, I'm
assume that
saying
it's
that, like, unless that's the case, you know what I mean? I
yeah.
don't imagine so because I don't think that they would want Team Argentina to go out like that.
Yeah. And it's just like at this point in the game too, it's like the house is so divided that like the team that goes in that changes everything and the whole like complexion of the house with like every vote is getting more and more important obviously as the numbers dwindle. So to like have a team really get screwed like that, and then obviously like I'm rooting for like KellyAnne specifically and a few others, but just knowing then like okay, well KellyAnne just lost Jody and Ben High, like there's a vote that is not with her. Obviously, like we know who goes on to win the challenge, so that was great. But still, it was like these people that I've kind of been rooting for just all got screwed because of like a technicality or whatever.
Yeah. I
Um,
bet you Danny did not like this this challenge because he usually likes rules to be kind of fair and like just. I would have been equally as pissed off if Tori and Danny never answered a question and they were last and went straight into elimination. I would have been equally as pissed off. I don't think it's
oh
fair.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no matter who it was, like I would think it's not fair, and maybe I'd be a
Or not fair
little
and
less.
not fun. Like it's not
Yeah,
enjoyable. I don't. It's not fun.
yeah, for sure. And this is just like the worst case because it is a team that I'm like kind of rooting for.
Hmm.
But regardless, like I just think when you have like a simple formula, just follow it. Tori and Danny never answered a question either. Is that true?
Um,
Um,
I'm not 100% sure if that is true.
oh, but that's because they were with Jody and
Yeah, no,
Benha who
they were
lost
in the
before they had
final
a chance.
heat as well, but like um they didn't get sabotaged in that last round.
Yeah. So my issue is like, if that's true, like, yeah, I definitely have an issue with that as well, that Tori and Danny didn't get to. But at least with Tori and Danny, like they didn't get screwed completely because Jody and Benha got screwed twice. Right. Like
Hmm.
if Tori and Danny got screwed twice too, I would definitely be very upset. Specifically because I love Danny. Um, but regardless, it's just like it's kind of bullshit if any team is not able to answer a question in a game where the objective is to answer questions.
Well, I am happy with the outcome of this. I stopped writing down who, as soon as like it just became kind of like everybody's like going out on their sabotage. Like I don't want people to go out on sabotage. I want them to go out on losing the question. It's trivia.
Yeah.
It's not sabotage. Anyways,
Were
can
there
talk
any
about
bad
this.
misses?
Not really.
I didn't think there was nothing like
Continents
super
that just
embarrassing.
don't get snow. I think people like that was kind of easy. Hard one though, like this that Tristan knows a lot of like random stuff. I don't remember though what he said.
Yeah, there was one like the smallest country, and Tristan
that I
was
knew
able to
was
get
Vatican
that.
City. That's something I did know. I didn't think anybody other than Tristan would know, or someone from the UK. Anyways, I didn't think anybody from America would know that. Yes, got a question wrong though. What was his question? Oh, it was how many seconds in an hour, and he did it for a minute.
He missed a 0, I believe.
Oh, look at who we have here.
Sorry for the delay, everyone.
No problem. Michelle, we are here right at the moment to complain about the daily. What were your thoughts?
I had a lot of complaints during the daily. My boyfriend was like, stop yelling. I was like, but this is so unfair. I understand that it's a roulette and I understand that it's luck of the draw, but like, are you serious that Jody and Benna didn't even get to answer a single question? And I understand that like, it's the order and they could get it wrong or right, but it's like, how is it fair that both times they were not the first ones to get asked the question? Because she would have gotten it right and could have had the opportunity to do that to someone else. And I just felt like that was really unfair. I don't know. That made me upset. But I don't know. There were still some funny moments in it. And like, obviously I was happy with the outcome of who won, but I was not happy with like, why did you need to make it a roulette like that? I don't know. How do you feel?
That's exactly how we felt, obviously. I was saying the two fixes could have been that if you get sabotage, you could defend the sabotage by answering our question. And then if you don't get that question right, then you have to pull the ripcord. Or Matthew was saying, just make it like normal trivia, where if you want to do up to 5, fine. And like you get 5 opportunities either to get sabotage or to pull or to answer your own question wrong, and at least then the round would come to you at least once.
Because that's what they used to do. They used to do 3, so it was like you had 3 knocks. Once your 3rd knock was done, and it could either be someone sabotaging or your own self. So it's like that to me makes more sense. I know it's luck and it's the luck of the draw, but like come on, like that is I felt like that was such a disappointment because Jody this entire episode had 0 opportunity to win or save herself at all throughout the entire episode, obviously with the elimination as well. Like had no opportunity to do anything to help, really. Well, not like some, but not much.
Yeah. It was really, really, really annoying. Absolutely. Now, what do you think about Casey having a new partnership with Troy and Amber leaving the game?
How do you think I feel about it? No, I mean, I was upset at first because I thought this makes me upset because I thought Tristan was going to leave. So I was like, God damn it. Like, what about KellyAnne? Like, this is so unfair. Like, Casey gets a new partner, but what about KellyAnne? All I care about is KellyAnne. What about KellyAnne? And it annoyed me that Amber's doing something nice for Casey when Casey has done nothing but be trash to her. But the truth is, I think she just cared more about Troy not having to leave. And so that was probably more of her driving force because Troy is such a nice person. He seems like a great partner. Like, she's really had some great friendships blossom throughout her time on the season. And like, I was annoyed, but I was like, well, at least Troy gets to stay. I wish it was Troy and KellyAnne if Tristan had to leave, but I'm thankful Tristan didn't leave because apparently he's a genius compared to the rest of these people.
I swear, if Tristan ends up leaving next week and KellyAnne gets screwed, I will riot.
We'll riot.
Like full riot, full on riot.
We'll get on a plane and go somewhere and like picket fence or picket line. Like
Tori should give up her spot in that case because she hates.
Tori?
She wishes he never picked her. She wishes Danny never picked her.
KellyAnne
and Danny as a partnership. Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
Riot.
I bet if Danny could go back in time, he would have chose KellyAnne as his partner.
Now that he sees,
I feel pretty confident with that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Well, he would have made a different choice. He probably would have even picked Jody, honestly, because he said that she was in his top choices of what Kiki had suggested to him. And I think Jody would have succeeded further with a stronger partner. It's the truth.
So Lauren is saying that Tori and Danny were in the third round with KellyAnne and Tristan. KellyAnne and Tristan answered the question right, and Tori and Danny dropped on their first pull, so they never answered a question.
Yeah.
Fine. It's cool. It sucks for them too that they didn't get a chance ever to be able to answer a question, to be able to send a shot. Like this whole game was flawed. That's kind of what we're saying. Like it wasn't well executed. It just gave the person in the pole position the most opportunity to take out people. Like if you also another thing they could have done, if you were out without answering a question, you don't do random then positioning. You put those people in the first position.
I agree. Because Tori and Danny in the third round, in the loser round, sorry.
They were second.
They were third.
Oh, they were third.
And in the middle was Benha and Jody. And so both of those teams were the teams that didn't get to answer anything. So at least put one of them first. Come on. I was you're putting Casey in them first again. I thought that was kind of BS in my opinion. But the whole thing is flawed. Tori and Danny got lucky. Well, they also, because of Casey, that they didn't lose because of it. So it's worse for Jody and Benha, but it doesn't mean it's still not as bad that they never got to answer a question. Cause I think Danny's probably pretty good at trivia, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Even if he's not, I think that he would rather the opportunity to answer a question wrong than to pull a cord and be be into elimination. Mm-hmm. I think everybody would prefer that at least they knew okay, well, I did all that I could do. I didn't know that answer. That sucks that I sucked. But being oh, someone answered a question right that I could have probably answered right, and I had to pull a cord and I pulled the wrong one.
Because literally Darrell and Kiki got so they had to pull so many and they got luckier, right? There's some people who got luckier. They were down to their last one or whatever, right? For the
I can't even believe that Darrell went up there.
I will say the best thing about this challenge was Darrell doing it. Him doing it and Kiki being the best at answering questions ever. Her and Tristan.
Second best.
Sorry. Second best.
Best female, we'll say.
Best, but her with Darrell, I am obsessed with this partnership. I feel like she is influencing him to be a little bit bolder with his choices and a little bit more steadfast in his no, these people are wronging me. This is what I'm doing. This is how and then I feel he helps her be a little more maybe calm in moments or something. I don't know. I really like this partnership. It's probably one of my favorites.
Because it's making him play a little bit.
He's playing and we've always loved Darrell, of course, but I love him more now, or my love for him is reignited this season now.
So Darrell and Kiki at one point they chose Troy and Kiki to sabotage because apparently Darrell and Yes made a plan to target Troy and Casey. What do you guys think about that whole shenanigans?
I mean, it makes sense to me because they're both Australian teams, right? So it's if they're picking between them, I think
the Casey effect.
It's the Casey effect. And so I assumed he would understand that it's because of Casey, but they obviously don't see it that way, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's interesting because I really dislike Yes, and sorry to the lovers of Yes. I not despise, but I really just dislike him in the show, and I don't love Emily on the show either. Even though I think she's strong and like I'm glad she's on the show, I just like I don't love that pairing, but I like them more than Casey and like some of the others. So it's like, I don't know. The hierarchy is like very weird for me. Like there's such weird dynamics. And like I'm saying, oh, I'm agreeing with what Sarah's saying in her confessionals. And I'm up is down, you know?
Uh-oh, fighting words for sure. Well, the losers are Benha and Jody. They're going to be going straight into the elimination. And then, obviously, our girl, KellyAnne and Tristan are able to pull through. Thank you, Tristan, for staying in this game. Thank you, Kaz, for making sure that Tristan stays in the game. I know it was a little bit selfish for her own game as well because she doesn't want to lose another Team UK. But I was just very, very happy that they won again. Especially because KellyAnne has, from the beginning, we saw that she was just like, nobody wanted to be her partner. Tristan didn't even want to be her partner. And now they're like bossing out and winning all these things. Like Tori and Danny haven't won anything yet. Right?
Yeah.
Has Sarah and Theo? No. Like they've won twice now, I think.
And in a way, it's like, I think Danny, we'll get into that more, but I think, Danny and they do recognize that there's power in not winning and there's power in having your vote.
Yep.
But at this point in the game, it's like, if you win, then you have that safety no matter what. And KellyAnne's been in the unfortunate position where she's had to either win or be in the bottom every single time. So there's just a different element there. And now they've won, 2 dailies already?
Mm-hmm.
And 1 elimination? Way to slay. I honestly kind of was like, part of me was like hoping that Tori and Danny would have to go into elimination just because I wanted kind of the drama of it, even though I was fairly confident that they would win if they were in it. But anyways, we'll get into that.
KellyAnne actually had said after she won, like she said the same. She said, like, you know what? Like I'm realizing that not having a vote here is actually potentially a problem.
Yeah.
Because now like I can't keep my people safe.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the house, like with Amber leaving. And Jody in the bottom and not having a vote as well. It's like, oh shit, like I'm only working with now one of the teams that are voting. So we're not going to be able to put in like one of these US teams. Like we're not going to be able to put in anyone that we're against. We're going to have to decide between the Australian teams, which ultimately is unfortunately what happened. But KellyAnne like recognized that as well, which is great. But I mean, it's tough because like you want to win to protect yourself, but it is a weird game of numbers because so many people are like tied to half of a team and like different teams. So it's tough.
What would solve this is if each damn team member got their own damn vote. Yeah. Like the fact that they have to vote as a duo, but they're voting for 2 teams is stupid. Like
100%.
You should be able to vote for this. You could vote for the same 2 teams. Like every single person should have their own vote because then it would allow the MVPs to come together and be like, no, we don't want that. It would give Danny and Sarah a little bit more power in this way. I don't know if you guys cared for the fight that Danny and Tori had, but like it might eliminate that. So if that was something that you guys were really,
it was not. I know there's going to be like haters on both sides of this situation, but it's like, it was unnecessary to the fact that even Jordan was like, yeah, I just voted for Casey because we have to make these decisions in the game. Like her behavior within that, like, sure, Danny was arguing it back 100%. Yes. But like what he is trying to say is like, she is showing her cards that she will pick her friends over her own sake of winning because she just won and she probably cares less about actually winning more than she cares about keeping these relationships and keeping the paycheck, making it far, but making sure her people are good. I don't think she has that same caring to win so hard as people like other people. And so it's unfair for Danny to have to deal with someone like that when even the person she's trying to protect, like Jordan, is even voting Casey in. It's like, you have to make decisions at some point. You have to do something.
Well, what about the argument that people are saying, like, well, Danny would never vote in Sarah, and so, like, why are we expecting her to vote in Casey?
Well, here's the thing.
Danny would vote in Sarah over himself for sure.
100%.
Like they voted for themselves. And they both, like, I lost respect in Tori's gameplay here for like that being the better thing to do. Because if I'd seen that happen, I would be like, hey, if they're voting for themselves, let's all vote for them. Like, screw them. Like, they're giving us the okay that it's okay to put
That's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
I was hoping for it.
And I was kind of hoping for it because it would shake Tori more than it would shake Danny.
Yeah.
Even though Danny hasn't like been in elimination, and I understand that there's that element, but like he's such a professional like athlete and person. Like he's not afraid of it. And I'm not saying Tori's afraid of it, but like there's a little bit more of that what if factor. And I just like, it's crazy. Like you're going to vote yourself in instead of throwing one vote on your friend when your friend is going in anyway. Mm-hmm. Like you put a burn vote on Jordan before and I liked how Theo, I think it was, said Tori and Danny have kind of been useless for the alliance every single week because they keep having to burn the votes or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, because like Danny isn't working with Theo. Tori is, but she's not helping really the situation. Like it's I don't know. It's like I hate it, but I also love it. I don't know. I feel weird about it, but it's like interesting drama. We've never had a team like this where two people are on the same team and they're working so heavily against each other. I've never seen it.
But I feel like Tori doesn't want to work with Danny. Like it just seems like she always is just like, well, this is my friend. I can't do this to my friend. And like, this is my ex-fiance. And if it was your, like, it's like, wait, we're in a partnership together. I don't want to be dealing with all your baggage. Like, let's try to win this thing together and play this game together. And you say like to your friend and your ex-fiance, hey man, I'm in a partnership. If sometimes maybe our ideal moves is not going to be in alignment. I'm sorry from right now, but I'm playing my own game this season.
Yeah. And also like, remember last season when you called me a terrorist and we almost went against each other many times? Like, it's okay for me to throw you in sometimes or like vote for you.
The problem with Tori's game right now is
Tori?
Yeah, with Tori's game is she's acknowledging all season long, and like Bananas is the same, where the two of them all season were saying, and last season even, like, yeah, you know what? The thing about the challenge is you have to play for future seasons. So Tori's saying, like, I could never put it in Casey, Jordan, or Bananas because like I'm gonna see them next season. It's like, okay, Tori, like you're never gonna put those people in. Like, good for you, but the fact that your game is so obvious on those future seasons, the last season people are going to watch is the previous season where you're saying, I'm never going to put in Bananas, Jordan, or Tori. So eventually there's going to be smart people in the house that it clicks to them that, hey, if Tori, Casey, Bananas, and Jordan will never, and Anissa and Nani will never put each other in, we have to put them in early. We can't let 7 people and potentially 14 people, if there's teams, just always work together. Like it's going to happen eventually. And the fact that they're so obvious about it is just such a detriment to their game that they don't even realize it. And I understand, like, yes, Bananas has won a shit ton of seasons, but this has not always been Bananas' game. It's like only the last couple seasons it's been his game. I understand Tori just won a season. Great. She won her first season there. It's going to be harder to win future seasons when she's playing the exact same way every time. Mm-hmm. And Danny knows that. And Danny's saying, play for this season because we can win this season and worry about next season. But Tori refuses to do that, which is the biggest flaw in her game.
Yes.
And it's not going to go away.
She does it in front of everybody. It's not like they're having secret conversations. Like, everybody can see that she is not willing to throw in her ex and Casey. Like, those are best friend. Like, she won't do it. She'd rather throw herself in than... It's like, okay, you don't have to be the martyr here all the time.
Exactly. It's very martyry. And she's also not offering another suggestion.
Even it is themselves.
Well, exactly, right? But like she's not saying, okay, what about Jordan? What about, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like Danny is standing his ground because he needs to make a point. Because if he doesn't, then as Matthew said, it's all just going to crumble around them. And in the end, it's going to be her with her friends, and she's not going to care. She's not going to push that extra mile to win because she's going to think, hey, wouldn't it be nice if Jordan gets to win this time or Casey gets to win this time, and they're going to give me money just like I gave them money, and they, whatever, you know, all that shit. It's like, it's not the same drive, and like that's frustrating. I'd be happy at this point with Sarah and Theo making it to the end with them as well, because I think that like Tori wouldn't care about, like, would want to beat them, right? Like that's fine. And so with Danny, like that'd be like a nice even kind of like, okay, we're all fighting for it. But if Jordan's at the end with her and Casey's at the end with her, it's just like, ugh, like at least Bananas is gone.
Yeah, my fear honestly is that, like, let's say like there's 7 teams left after tonight. Like let's say there's 2 more eliminations and 5 teams make the finals. Like I honestly fear if Tori makes the finals with Danny, she's just gonna like not care to win. And if Jordan and Kaz are there with her, or Casey and Troy are there with her, is Tori gonna have that drive? Like you said, knowing that, you know what, if Jordan or Casey wins, like I'm probably gonna get some money anyways.
The
Plus,
new tradition
like,
that Devin thinks that they should start now is like give the second and third place people some of their prize money.
Yeah, well, Danny actually tweeted very like just like an hour or two ago that Tori said to Danny before the voting, I guess, that the reason she would not vote for Casey is because Casey gave her $50,000 2 seasons ago. It's like, damn, like that, like the precedent that was set with that is just so like it's so horrible for the game. Where now, like 2 years later, a year and a half later, there's been 3 more seasons, and like Tori now owes Casey, and like we can't have a normal game because of like you let Casey
IOUs,
give
yeah.
money to Tori.
I
Same thing,
agree.
like I hate
So
it. Like
Sarah did make a good point though, and she said, "Yeah, it's hard. This is the game that you keep signing up for." So it's like she does keep signing up for the damn game. Like, why are you making me side with Sarah, Tori? Gosh,
like
so
you know something is wrong when we are siding with Sarah. Like things are in a different place now, and we take the game as each season is, and I see it for how it is. And last season there were moments where I was definitely back on Tori's side, and I was riding for her, and I agreed with her opinions in a lot of situations, and I felt for her, and whatever. And it's just like this season is not that case, and like it's frustrating that that is not being noticed by everyone, but that's just kind of how it goes.
So I have a question. Why do you think that the show in general decided to take away the second and third place finishing?
That's what I was gonna say too. It's like it makes no sense. Like this is fully on production. Like I'm not even gonna blame Tori or Casey or Devin or whoever here, because like for their game, like sure, like there is some sense in doing this if it's gonna buy you some like goodwill the next season. But why is production letting this happen? Like, don't they realize that obviously if you're giving them the opportunity to share the money, they're gonna do it, presuming it's like vets in the finals. Um, Maybe they want like a scenario, like a Bananas or Ashley scenario where they say like, now we're not giving you anything. But at that point, it's not even that big of a deal. If it's like, yeah, we're not going to give you like 30 grand. Like, sure, they would like 30 grand, but it's not like they're stealing 500K from someone. It's not like a big moment. So production really like messed up allowing this to happen.
Yeah.
Just give second place X dollars, third place X dollars.
So everybody at least is fighting for something to be there. Because, like, I mean, it would still make these big alliances want to get to the end because they know they're all going to get money. So, like, that would still happen. but I think it will also give some drive for the people that don't think that they could win to still want to try to get to the final, because at least if they get to the final, then they'll be able to maybe get some money. So
Exactly.
I think it should, even if it's a BMX bike, like people were working harder for those bikes than they're doing now for this $1 million, and then get to coast and just get the gift from the winner.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I agree, and it's frustrating, and it is. You know, I don't like that they gave money, and I don't like that that's a whole thing. It adds such an element to their friendship that they already have, and it's really, truly unfair. Like, and I know that nothing's fair in the challenge. Like, it is what
But
it is.
just
But
have
like,
a couple things a little bit more fair.
yeah.
Just so it's like I don't have to be annoyed.
I don't have to be annoyed. Exactly. Like at this point, I'm just like, if the chances are, as Matthew said, if there's only 2 more eliminations, chances are Jordan and Kaz and Casey and Troy are not going to both get eliminated. Like that would be cool, but it's probably not going to happen that both of them will get eliminated one after another. So at least one of those teams is going to be in the final with Tori and Danny, if presuming that Tori and Danny make it that far. And like, that's going to be very frustrating to witness.
So what about, did you like it when Tori's like, I wish you never picked me as a partner? And then the soap opera music coming along, and Darrell finally having some funny confessionals, talking about this high school grade 9 drama. And then she votes for herself. I rolled my eyes so hard.
Yeah, I also rolled my eyes, and I don't know. Like, my question here is like, what is Danny supposed to do?
Hold on, this is wild. Hi, Crystal. Crystal says apparently Danny offered her $50K on the spot when she said that.
It's like, fuck it, I'll give you $50K once we win. Yeah. See, he doesn't pull any punches, right? It's like, what is he supposed to do when she's being this way? Is he, like, I'm truly asking, is he supposed to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll vote in my allies, and we'll keep all of your friends, that you're not going to fight as hard to win in the end because you know that you're all going to split money with each other anyways. Cool, for sure. Yeah, no problem. Like, is that what he's supposed to do? Tell me that. Like, someone, Tori stands, tell me. Like, I don't understand what he's supposed to be doing, because like, from my perspective, what he is doing is his only path really at this point. And like, he's slaying for the drama.
Brat. Ooh, we got some props here. Thank you, The Real Ranu. Hey, Chantele, I'm watching from Seattle, Washington, and absolutely love your podcast. Yes, anytime I see it on panel, I know it's going to be incredible.
Oh.
Get it. And we miss Fanta. We miss Fanta, too. She'll probably come around at the end of the season. Maybe when Danny comes on again to kind of give his whole thoughts about everything that went down. Maybe Fanta will drop on in, but thank you so much for watching. We do it for you guys. Like, well, I mean, we love talking about this damn show, but we love that you guys also love talking about it with us. So it's much appreciated that you enjoy hearing us talk. So thank you. Thank you. So in the end, Darrell and Kiki and Casey and Troy are the votes that are going to be going in. Kiki is pissed, though, after that Emily said her name again. And I'm just like, yes, come on, get Darrell to want to stab Yes and Emily in the back. Yes.
Kiki, she's an icon to me. Like, I don't know. I'm mad now that I didn't finish watching Challenge Australia, because she's just...
I didn't hate Emily in Challenge Australia.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I did.
And I don't hate her even now. I think because she's partnered with Yes, I'm a little biased, but I don't hate her. I think that, like, I just don't like that she's kind of hypocritical. Like, in one week she's saying, I would never put Australia in. Like, I would vote Australia. And then she votes Australia, like, multiple times. Like,
I hope this isn't controversial, but I actually really like Yes. I didn't know like Yes was someone that was like hated by anyone.
No, he is liked. He's liked by the majority. I have a weird thing ever since the All-Star season, the way all the drama with Wes. Not that I was necessarily even fully on Wes's side. I just like I feel he has he had this whole, I don't like his energy of like, like last season, the All-Star season, of like, deserving. Like, I felt like he was very entitled, and I really don't like his energy, and I find myself getting frustrated every time. That said, he is not the worst. I don't hate him. There are many people below him, and I'm fine with him going far. I just, like, I don't need him to win again, if that makes sense.
It's totally
Yeah,
fine.
That's my own opinion.
I liked the Wes versus Yes kind of drama on All Stars 3. I thought it was like really like fun to see that side of Wes, because I personally like I did like Yes on All Stars 1, but
Yeah,
I
All
thought he
Stars
was
1.
like too zen. He was just like it was all like the Yes on season 1 was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put in like last place in the daily, like let's all get along. And it's like
Yeah, I
I
don't like
liked
that.
him. Like I thought it was like fun to see like an old school mentality there. But then when like Wes came in and they were button heads and like they genuinely seemed to not like each other, I was like, you know what? Like I like to see like some fire out of Yes too. He is also very underrated on Twitter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, give him a follow. He's pretty funny and like he claps at like Bananas and Wes and all those people, which I do appreciate for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I think, I mean, I'm not a Twitter viewer, but I think that I do appreciate him going against Bananas, like him wanting to vote Bananas in and all that. Like, I was for that for sure. I just didn't you feel like he was so like Wes is such a bad person and like I'm such a good person and my views are correct and good and angelic. Like that's the energy I was getting from him. But
And it's
honestly,
like you're playing a slimy game. Like you can't
yeah,
you're not
just
like
acknowledge
the
that you're
moral
being
high ground
slimy.
here, buddy.
Yeah, just be
You're in the
slimy.
mud with all of us. Yeah.
Just be the way that you are. Like, who cares? Like, I just love when people are just who they are, like, and are willing to just be that and not pretend that they're better or nicer or kinder or more deserving of something.
Yeah,
Like,
more moralistically.
moral, yeah,
Yeah.
like it's a
Mhm.
challenge. I think that's what it is.
Well, the best part about all of it is like I just love it's like when they would feud, especially on Twitter, like Wes and Yes after the season.
Yeah, that was
Wes would
funny.
always Wes would always go at Yes and be like, you know what? Like the true like asshole is the person that like claims to be nice. So it's like if you think Yes is nice, that means he's really an asshole. And Wes would just post like paragraphs and paragraphs about how like Yes's niceness is like fully fake.
Yeah.
And then like Yes would clap back, and then they show like screenshots of their text messages. It
Yeah,
got
that
like
was
pretty
so
messy.
messy. Yeah.
I
Wes and
loved it
yes is
though.
equals mess. I like that.
And you know
They
what?
didn't seem to have any issues this season though. It seems like they were mostly okay.
Yeah, honestly, I would like them as a rivalry pair. Like I would be fine with
Oh,
that because
that'd be great.
they would have to work together.
And like yes would be moral policing
Yeah,
Wes, and Wes would just be like, "You're so
yeah.
annoying." That'd be
But
good.
let me be clear for the haters that I don't hate him, and I will pick him over Bananas and a couple other people at this point. So you know,
Hi,
they are.
Adrian. Yes, Tori and Danny are a mess, and Sarah with that Tori read is everything. Like it really was. So, like, come on, why are you mad? Why are you so mad though, Tori? You signed up for this game. You knew these people were playing. Like, you really think that everybody's just gonna allow you guys just to waltz on to the end together as your big elite vacation alliance? Like, it's not gonna always happen. Thank you, Danny, for like just at least saying no. I know you kind of succumbed to what she wanted this episode, but it's like at least there's some pushback.
Mhm.
Like
I do believe I think Sarah is a fan of the challenge, like a lifelong fan of the challenge. And I feel like part of Sarah, like part of the reason Sarah is like being this like up like being this like confrontational, not like aggressively or anything, but she's being confrontational with Tori is like Sarah is all of us. Like
Mhm.
Sarah wants everyone to play to win. Also, like obviously Sarah wants to win and understands her best path to win. But like the fact that like she is seeing and Danny is seeing, Danny also obviously is a fan. Um, so they see this like boring, stagnant gameplay, and they don't want that because they're fans of the show. At least I feel like that's part of it. Obviously,
Mhm.
you're
like their
hoping that
game
it
is
is.
priority,
Yeah.
but I do feel like Danny and Sarah are trying to do what's right for the fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Lauren
I was wondering this too.
So Lauren was saying, why didn't Tori and Danny vote for Yes and Emily? Are they working together? I'm wondering if they weren't up for the vote or something.
Well, they could have, because
who was in the stalemate?
Well, it was in the stalemate. It was Tori, Danny, Troy and Casey. I think it was Yes and Emily.
Yes, and Emily had only had one.
Oh, never mind. Who was the third?
Vote. It was Darrell and Kiki.
No, Darrell and Kiki had 4 votes. So they were in automatically.
Troy and Casey had,
yeah.
I thought that Yes and Emily only had 1 vote from Casey and Troy. So I guess
they had to vote for
either themselves or the other 2 people that were in the.
Yeah, so that must have been it. At that point, it was a deadlock. So you had to vote for one of, like, they had decided, okay, you have to vote for one of those teams, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Yes and Emily had 2 votes, but they would have needed to have at least 3, I think. 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah. So if Tori and Danny had originally voted for Yes and Emily,
yeah. So why didn't they originally vote for Yes
instead of themselves?
Because they're not communicating and not coming to a common ground to be able to make decisions like that. Because I feel like,
yeah, they should have followed suit with. Wait, did anybody do that? Hold on, they did. Okay, so Tori and Danny voted for themselves and Darrell and Kiki.
Yeah,
like they're like Tori's okay with voting for Darrell. Like, screw you, Tori. Yeah,
I just have a feeling this Tori and Danny situation, it's going to end horribly. Like, whether they lose in an elimination.
And Tori also voted for Tori and Danny.
Casey and Troy?
Troy, sorry, yeah. Unless I wrote that down wrong.
No, they did. They did vote for them.
They did vote for them the first time.
Whatever.
Which is why it makes no sense. Like, why could Tori not just throw the vote back and say, hey, Casey, I'm sorry, but you voted for me and, like, I'm not going into elimination. Casey's not going to hold a grudge against you for that. There's no way.
Exactly.
But yeah, this Danny Tori partnership is going to end horribly. Like, it's been setting up for it all season. Whether they lose like the elimination before the finals or they make the finals and just cannot communicate. Like, at this point, I just can't see them winning because all we're getting is like the dysfunctional relationship. And I would love for Danny to be a back-to-back 2-time champ, but I just do not see this happening based on the fact that they cannot speak to each other.
They literally can't. I mean, we'll see what happens next week because we saw that preview, but I don't see it going that well. And just based on social media and stuff, yeah, I don't think that it's going to end well. I'm excited to see the explosion. And I'm glad that he's serving that. Yeah, they need counseling. I don't know. Yeah, it's like her saying, I wish you hadn't picked me. I'm sure he thinks he feels that way too, girl.
He's probably like, oh, man.
I'm sure he feels that way too.
He's like, I would have been able to work better with Shanae if I could. Or
anyone.
He would have been able to pick KellyAnne because KellyAnne was still available at that time. Imagine how butthurt she would have been if like she wasn't picked though early.
Yeah, whatever.
Should be
KellyAnne was the last pick, and I mean she's crushing it. Like 2 daily wins, an elimination win, the biggest strategic move of the season. Like that was the last pick, so definitely underestimated. And
first pick Zara's gone, so.
Yeah, KellyAnne's been the star of the season. And I don't think that's even really a debate at this point. Like, she's crushing it confessional-wise, gameplay-wise.
She's the star of the season. Was she our sabotage or no?
She was my sabotage.
She very well could have been.
Because you assumed... You gave her to me.
I just thought she was going to be in the worst spot. And, like, I figured she'd be the last pick if there was a draft. And then,
she was.
She was. I did not expect her to be able to like rally the troops. Super impressive.
Oh yeah.
I hope she wins. I really do.
I would actually cry.
She deserves it.
She deserves it.
I'm struggling to like pick a winner right now.
I think that I'm feeling that she might be able to squeak by because there's so much ascension in Team USA that like maybe the war between them all starts. It'll be USA versus Australia. And then Jordan and Kaz and KellyAnne and Tristan just kind of like
We'll
The
see.
problem is, like, if Jordan and Kaz get to the end, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Really tough to beat.
Unless Kaz has to do math problems.
True.
But Jordan could do it, unless if they're separated, I guess. But
as much as I think Kaz is beautiful and I think she's very strong, she doesn't appear to be very smart. So if there's any brainy stuff in the challenge, like we've seen sometimes where they had to remember when they're going through the sand and they had to remember the numbers and add this and multiply this, and I cannot see her trekking through the sand in those conditions and remembering these numbers and doing the big math equation. So
let's wait and see what the final is, because after last season, who knows what the final's going to be?
Do you think she'd be able to do a Sudoku? No offense.
No, but no.
I just feel like if it's anything where they can do it together, Amber is obviously not great at math, but she was with CT and they pretty much dominated that final.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Kaz did win her final, so there is that. I'd be happy with Darrell and Kiki winning though. I think that's possible too.
Yeah, Darrell and Kiki, Tristan and KellyAnne would be my top 2 picks right now of my faves, and I would be so happy. Jordan and Kaz are obviously a contender. Tori and Danny, if they're in the final, depending on what the situation is. I don't think it's likely just based on what the season has been setting up of their drama, but you never know, because honestly, based on the Challenge USA season 1, Danny wasn't getting a winner's edit. So, and then suddenly it was oh, here we go. So let's wait and see, because Danny pulls it out when he needs to. And
but that means this Tori win though.
I know, and I don't want that, but at least there would be some
Tori back-to-back champion.
I mean, if they get Jordan out / Troy and Casey out or whatever, and then they're in the final and then they win, I think that it would be justified, and then Danny could be see, look, we won because we got rid of the biggest competition for us. But yeah, we'll see.
We will see. Well, I love Darrell saying F Emily in his confessional, now knowing that he should have listened to Kiki about how Emily is a bit of a snake. So I'm yes, give me that fire, Darrell. I hope that means that they're going to win and they're going to throw them in next episode. That would be FUN. So Troy doesn't want to play a scared game like Danny and Sarah. What do you think about that comment?
I think he was just in the moment. I understand being upset that these votes are coming our way, and I understand saying that he thinks they're playing scared. I mean, I think it's Tori. I think that Danny is playing not scared, and that's why this conflict is happening. Because so I don't know, but he's entitled to his opinion, and I really like Troy. So yeah,
I do like Troy.
Was Troy talking about when he said that, he was talking about how Danny and Sarah don't want to go into an elimination, right?
Yes, yeah.
And Troy said yeah, I don't care, I'll go into an elimination.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we actually spoke to Danny after USA, we were talking a bit about hey, we want to see you on the main show, go against Fessy and you'll kick his ass in a hall brawl. And Danny said yeah, he essentially said, yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to go into an elimination. And I don't think that's playing scared necessarily. You shouldn't want to go into an elimination.
Absolutely.
But if Danny was going into an elimination, I don't think he would be scared. I just think he understands it's smarter not to go in.
The less times you go into elimination, the less likely that you might have something that you're not good at and go home.
Exactly.
So it's just it's not the fear of the competition. It's the fear of maybe it could take you out of the game because it could be something not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and if they end up in an elimination, I highly doubt he would be the reason they would lose, but we'll see.
So we're at the arena. It's going to be either Troy and Casey, or it's going to be Darrell and Kiki. But thank goodness that Casey's on this team, because it's going to be Darrell and Casey that is going to be going in to play Spin Me Round against Benha and Jody. So basically, they have one of the two partners are going to be on a slat, kind of like a bed, whatever, and they had to like crank them up and down to be able to see an answer grid, and then the partner has to relay the different images to the partner that was cranking, and they had to recreate this board. So what do you think about the fact that for this particular challenge, Benha was on the slat and Jody was doing the cranking and the running and the recreating of the board, and then on the other side, Troy was doing the cranking and Casey was doing looking at the board?
My opinion was the moment that Benha stepped on that thing, I knew it was done. Because I knew he wasn't going to be able to concisely explain to her what the cards were. But at the same time, if she had chosen to do it, if Jody had chosen to be in that position, I was thinking about it. I was like, she probably might have been better at describing it really clearly, but I feel like she probably felt, oh, that role is someone who's not in control. The person doing the cranking and doing the thing, I know I can do that. And maybe she didn't trust that Benha could do that. I'm not sure why that decision was made. I think it might have been better if she was the one describing it.
Yeah, because she could be like, she could see the different, like, one thing that Casey was doing, Benha was doing it a little bit, but it seemed like Casey did it better, was like, okay, like row 1-1 and 1-5 was green square with two arrows facing in the same direction to the right. And you know what I mean? She was able to like pick up multiple places on the board. Benha did it a couple times. I know he messed up at least once when he was giving the coordinates. And I just feel as though Jody would have been more concise at that, and then Benha could be running around and recreating it. But I just feel like that she would have relayed the information.
Yeah, and I will say, this is the best Casey has ever performed in an elimination. Like, it's not that it's crazy impressive, but she was smart about how she did it. It's how I would have done it. As you said, finding like building it in that way. Troy was listening really nicely. He was doing it really quickly. As they described, he was not just letting her swing around. So they worked well together. Yes, very calm, very, very calm. And truly, like, if I don't know Troy's like math skills or like that kind of stuff, but if he has those skills and they're in the final, he could like help. He could be what Casey needs, right? Because like Casey needed someone like CT to win, right? Obviously, because she can't do any of that stuff. So it's like, if Troy can fulfill that, I mean, they could also be a contender.
I do actually think Casey is very good at eliminations.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one was very impressive. But like in her whole challenge career, like obviously short career, she's only lost eliminations with her brother, who was just a complete zero, right?
But we loved him.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he just did absolutely, like, there was no way to win with him, but I believe she's now 5-0 in eliminations. To this
On
season.
her own, you mean?
Well, no, she won.
Who?
Casey is 5-0.
On her own, but she lost with her brother. What do you mean? 5-0.
No, 5-0.
Besides the brother.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, so on her
brother.
own, like without her brother, okay.
Or with a different partner. Yeah. So anyone that's not Kenny Clark, she's 5-0. Very good at eliminations. But I do agree, like, if Troy is not great with like math and puzzles, which I don't remember if he is, I feel like he is, because he did win a lot of dailies in Australian Survivor. But if he's not good at that stuff, they're going to be in for some trouble. But I do think they could win like any elimination, because Troy is small, but he did like dominate a pole wrestle, and like Casey's going to be very hard to beat in a pole wrestle or anything physical. So I do think they will get to the final, most likely. Winning might be tough. I just don't remember how good Troy is at like the random things.
You're being called out here.
Who's Kenneth?
Kenny.
Oh.
You just said, because no, not Kenny, not that Kenny. You just said that you love Kenny Clark.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant Kenny, like old Kenny that we don't speak of. Fair. Okay, fair. I love Kenny in a trolling way. Okay, in a trolling way, because he was serving up humor in that last episode, like when he came back or whatever. Like he was serving some humor in those confessionals and acknowledging what he is. Like, I don't know, something about acknowledging and being authentic to what you are makes me like you more as a player on the show. Like, that's just how it is for me. I don't know.
I understand, Michelle. So I was saying, oh boy, from these confessionals, I can tell that it's the end of Argentina. And I was right. Casey and Troy won. It seemed like a pretty big margin. Jody was crying here. And I kind of felt bad for Jody because she didn't really get a good shot here.
No,
she didn't
really
have a partner that was going to be, she wasn't partnered with someone from Team USA where she would have been immediately in like a power position. She was partnered with the people that kept on going home or being in the bottom, or she was in the bottom. And it was she just was always fighting a losing battle here. Yeah. It sucks that she didn't really get to perform as well as she wanted to this season. I think that I think if they got to the end, they could have been a contender.
Potentially. I mean, depending on if they get to work together the whole time, then yeah, because like she's very smart, and she's strong, and she's got great endurance. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel bad because I feel like it's extra sad because of how they got put into elimination this week. Is unfortunate. Would they have been a vote if they hadn't been in? Yeah, probably. But KellyAnne and Tristan would never have voted them in. So they wouldn't have had to do it. And like, it just sucks that this is the way it has to go down. Yeah. But I didn't see them necessarily winning. It was just such an uphill battle for her the whole time.
Yeah, she didn't have a fun ride here at all. Yeah. Benja does have his last words with some, I don't know if it was actually the Argentinian national anthem, but it was some inspirational music playing behind him. And that is the end of Team Argentina, no longer participating in the Global Challenge Championship. Bummer, but the show must go on. And next week, we learn that Danny wants all of Tori's number ones gone.
It is funny, right? Like, they are partners. It is funny. Like, I don't know. But it does make sense. Like, the whole money thing, too. The fact that, like, obviously they're not going to show that on the show, that she let him know about that. And that element just makes it so, like, of course he's going to be like, yeah, let me get rid of your allies, because if your allies are there, you're not going to fight the same way to win. It's so frustrating. Yeah.
Who's our MVP this week, though?
In my opinion, I could be argued towards Tristan for his amazing.
I think Tristan actually 100%.
His amazing answers. He came through. He answered everything. But also Kiki slayed as well, and I also loved Kiki's like talking to Darrell and some of her confessionals. I feel like she had a lot of personality, and I really enjoyed her in this episode. But like, I could give it to Tristan as well because he definitely showed up. Yeah, so I could go either of those. Tristan,
what do you think, Matthew? Did you have another thought?
I think Tristan is like definitely a good choice. My like initial thought was actually very different and probably unconventional, but
Amber.
I actually wanted to give it to Amber. I thought like just the fact that she had that like really great moment early on, like obviously like her season ended prematurely, but like she had a really great like character moment by like being the bigger person and giving Casey that opportunity, and then also like having that like heartwarming moment, like announcing her pregnancy with Troy.
True.
So I like
I think that it would be another category that I'd be giving her like points here, because like most valuable player, I don't know if she was the most valuable player here in this episode, or the person that deserves the most credit for what they did on the show. Miss Congeniality, maybe.
I feel like when I do my MVPs, I'm doing it more based off of like who I liked the most that episode.
Yeah, me too.
So
Me too,
that's maybe why I
100%.
was leaning Amber. If it was like in terms of like performance included, like obviously Amber didn't do any challenge, so she would lose a lot of points there. So like I definitely like I think Tristan is very deserving. I just wanted to give a shout out to Amber because we're not going to be talking about her for probably a couple of years now, or at least a few seasons.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel for her, and I was dying at her Instagram post today where she's just like, I'm so thankful I finally have people that support me and like love me, and she like names all of these people except for Casey and Tori, it seems. I mean, there's some others she didn't mention as well, but like she mentions so many people, including Jordan and like all these women, and the shade of it all is amazing because I don't even think she like, she's authentically being like, this is how I feel. And like Tori and Casey have dragged her name through the mud on multiple seasons. So like it's totally warranted. And I love that for her. I love that she's just like embracing it. She looks amazing. She always looks amazing.
Great.
But she somehow looks even better.
Oh, you're muted. She's glowing right now. And she's got to be what, like 7 months pregnant?
Probably we were thinking November, so December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Yeah.
August, September probably due. So yeah, she's probably
she's
probably getting big. She's probably at like 7 months.
I feel like such a dick. Like when I'm like Amber's like about to have a kid in the next few months, and like in my head I'm thinking like, okay, when can we get her back on the challenge?
I know.
Will she be there on season 40? Oh, she'll be back, but it's like
June. She's gonna be due June. Okay, so she's
that makes sense.
very, very, very preggers.
Yeah, so if it's June, yes, 7 months pregnant, I guess. And I'm just thinking like, all right, is it too soon for her to come back for season 39? Yeah, probably. How about 40? Can we get her on 40?
Yeah.
Maybe 41.
And I just love that there are people that she could relate to, like KellyAnne, who was ostracized, Naya. Like there's just like, she was able to have these connections, and I'm just so happy she was finally able to have them. And it just shows that she isn't as some hateable creature that they made her seem like in Spies, whatever season, Double Agents or whatever season it was. So I'm happy for her with that. In terms of next week, I just hope like something happens with the Danny Tori. Like we saw that Tori's talking to him being like, we need to communicate, blah, blah, blah.
I feel like he's gonna be pissed off and throw them.
Yeah, of course he's gonna. And honestly,
and throw themselves into elimination, like a whole.
I'm kind of fine with that because if he thinks that like it, like for example, say like Casey's team or Jordan's team, maybe more likely Casey's team, like gets last place by something happens, they get last place, they're in. I could see Danny being like, yeah, we're gonna go in, and either we send them home or we're done. Because, like, I don't want to go further with these teams. So if one of them's at the bottom, vote me in. God. Everyone, vote us in. Vote us in. Like, that would be...
Tori wanted us to vote us in last week, so let's vote us in so we don't have to vote in Casey and Troy.
It would be terrible, but also amazing. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just excited to see what happens with it. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that this is the trajectory of like Danny's character arc here at the game, I would be like, there's no way. And I just love that he's being so unexpected with it all. It's truly, it's awesome.
I think we're due for a physical elimination too. We haven't had one in a while. And I do believe in the preview for the season, there was a hall brawl, if I recall correctly. All these things kind of blend together.
Evenly matched men, though.
There's no. It would have to be like Troy versus Jordan. Do you know what I mean? Like it'd have to be two people who have like a similar stature.
Yeah. Casey would kill Kaz.
Casey would kill any. anyone except for maybe Tori. Like,
or maybe she wouldn't be able to kill
or Emily.
Sarah. Sarah might be, and
Sarah.
Emily looks
No,
kind of
Emily.
tall.
No, you know what? Yeah, Sarah, Emily. Sorry, I take it back.
Imagine
There's a couple-
Sarah and Theo in a hall brawl against Danny and Tori.
Oh.
Like Danny would whoop Theo, but Sarah
Yeah.
and Tori would be juicy.
Sarah and Tori would be juicy. You're totally right. Oh my god. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
Actually, that would be
crazy.
amazing if that was the duo that had to go up.
Danny has said he doesn't want to do a hall brawl, and like, but if it happens, it has to.
I think you'd still run through the person. So
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think it's like I think he didn't want to do it necessarily on USA because like they also said like, hey, we will not have that there. He has a new family or a newer baby at that time, and he doesn't want to get like a concussion. Like he's been playing football for however many years. Like it's still a dangerous sport. And you want to take as few blows in your lifetime as possible. You know what I mean? So I can understand not wanting to necessarily do this like head-to-head combat.
Yeah.
Like it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And if you have like, a family to be worried about, like you don't want to get hurt. So I understand.
And if I'm like one of the other dudes and like you're going into a hall brawl against Danny, like honestly, like all you can do is just say like, hey, TJ, I'm literally not doing this.
Yeah.
Like I give Danny the points, like the girls can go, but like I'm not going into a hall brawl against an NFL player. That is absurd. No matter how big and strong you are, like Theo is a massive dude. Darrell is a big dude. They should not go into a hall brawl against an NFL player.
But you know that Theo will.
Yeah, so Glenn is saying Danny said people will see him and try and go extra hard because he's a football player and that's why he doesn't want to do it. That's true. They might play dirty. They might be anticipating the fact that he's going to be really
I think that Darrell would be like, okay, no. But I think that Theo is Theo is like to me like how Kyle would just do anything. Do you know what I mean? Theo is that kind of player, which is why I like him as a player. He's willing to like give his all to any like elimination. But yeah, it's not smart. Just make the girls do it and give Danny the points.
Yeah,
because,
honestly.
like,
and then if it comes down to it, it's like, hey, we'll flip a coin. If like it goes to a tiebreaker, flip a coin. Like you have a better chance of winning a coin toss than you do of beating an NFL player in a hall brawl. I promise. I promise you that, Theo, or anyone else.
Yeah.
Not like hopefully it won't happen. And if there is a hall brawl, it's like a competitive one. But yeah, if Danny does end up in there, I would encourage anyone to please forfeit.
Yeah, I hope Theo doesn't damage his eye, okay? Like, I hope he doesn't. I hope when there's a hall brawl, it's Troy versus Jordan and Casey versus Kaz. Or it's
that's the only
that's really the only one at this point that I would be okay with, because KellyAnne against anyone is going to be scary for me. They're all larger than her. Like she is the smallest girl by a landslide. So.
Oh yeah, if she goes home in a hall brawl, I will be very sad.
Yeah, like maybe Kaz she could beat if she had some sort of tenacity. Like who knows? That would be the only
Kaz
person.
has been doing Muay Thai. Like Kaz.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, never mind. I take it back. I flip-flopped. Never mind. I didn't know.
Well, thank you both for joining me today to talk about this episode of the Challenge Global. Do you guys have anything going on that you'd like to plug? Instagram? Have you had some hit tweets this week, Matthew?
No, it was a lighter Twitter week for me. If anything pops up in the next day or so, maybe I'll try to go viral, but nothing really so far. I'll have to see, like once I listen to the podcasts, like in the next couple of days, once they start dropping, then sometimes I get triggered and I get really riled up. So I might put a tweet out then. So stay tuned. I'm at the real P Dog on Twitter.
I'm obsessed.
Michelle, are you just get it like a new Twitter? Like just be like Mish Nash, new Twitter account?
I might just to watch.
I think that like because you love the trolls.
Oh, I love
it. I think that you would actually really like finding hidden troll gems on Twitter.
Because honestly, like the social media that I'm on the most is TikTok, and it doesn't have good challenge anything, because the people who are like challenge fans and people on TikTok. Like it's such a small margin, and it's not like the real heavy hitters. The heavy hitters are on Twitter with the challenge. So like that's what I need to get into, I think.
Thank you.
Reddit is good for the challenge too.
That's true. They're both good, but I think Twitter is a little bit faster. Like you don't have to like go and like search and read these, but personally, but I think that both are quite good. They can be kind of toxic, but they're quite good. Well, thank you everybody here in the chat for being here as we discuss this season. You guys are the best fans in the business. So I really enjoy talking every week with you guys and with you guys in the chat. So please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let us know if you think that Amber should be the MVP of this episode. Do you agree with Matthew that Amber?
She's my MVP. That's all that matters to me.
Truly.
You didn't even change your name, Matthew. How dare you say that she's the MVP and you didn't even change your name?
I will miss Amber a lot the next year. So I'm sad that she's gone, but I wish her and Chauncey all the best. And I can't wait to see all their Instagrams.
Oh my god, with this,
it's gonna be a cute ass baby. That's gonna be the cutest baby.
So cute. So cute. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.